going to organize this equation that you see on the board. So we're going to have 6x, so we'll do that, and then plus 4 equals 3x plus 10. Alright, over here what we're going to get set up is we're going to set up our 4 individual pieces to help show our constant. So we have our 4, and then we're going to do our 6x. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, over here we needed 3x, 1, 2, and 3, and then we have our constants. We're adding a positive 10, or adding 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if our equation is set up on the board, and with our building blocks and our variable pieces. So remember, this is going to represent our equal sign. Alright, as you see on our board, there's some spots that are missing, but what you can see is that there is a negative 4, or so taking away 4, right underneath. So we're going to start our equation by trying to balance out what we do to one side, we're going to do to the other. So in this equation, we are going to subtract 4, so we're going to start with the constants. So over here, if we look at our blocks, remember this is our equal sign, we're going to take away 4. So now that's going to leave us with nothing over here. So the only thing we will have is our 6x. So as we said, we had our 6x. You can see on our screen, you can say 6x plus 0, but you don't necessarily need to put the plus 0. So we can erase that out of there. So now we just have the 6x, which you can see, our pile of 6, we haven't changed. Over here, we need to make sure that we are taking away 4 just like we did on the other side. So if we take away 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are left with 6. So if we look at our board, you can see over there we subtracted the 4. Now we have 3x plus 6. We have the 3x because remember, we haven't done anything with it. We haven't touched it. It is still there. Alright, so now we're going to move to our next step in our equation. Now you're going to see on our board, we have step 1 where we subtracted the 4 from both sides. Now step 2, you'll see we're going to subtract 3x. So we're doing this because we're trying to isolate the variable. Isolation means you're going to try to get it by itself. So this is going to be a step that helps us isolate the variable. So within our equation on this side, if we subtract the 3x's, 1, 2, 3, that is no longer there anymore. Over here, if we subtracted 3, we're going to need to take away 1, 2, 3. So that leaves us with 3x's over here and our 6 pieces over here. And in our equation, we subtracted our 3x. Remember, from both sides you need to do the same things. So now we are left with what you see at the bottom, 3x equals 6. So we are very close to getting that variable isolated. So we need to complete our last step, which is going to be using the inverse operation. One thing I think some students have struggled with is when you see a number and a letter next to each other like that, they're assuming multiplication. So whatever, if we put a number in place for that variable x, what you would do then is you would multiply. But in this case, we can't multiply 3 and x, so we need to separate that by doing the inverse operation of multiplication, so the opposite. So we're going to think of dividing by 3, and if we do that to the one side, we need to do it to both sides. So you'll see what we'll have left in our equation and how we'll go through solving it using our blocks and our pieces. Alright, what we have on the board is 3x equals 6. Down here we have 3x's, equal sign, a total of 6. So we said we're going to divide by 3. So how we do this is we need to take what we have and divide it into 3 equal groups. So this is 1, 2, 3. So these are 3 equal groups. Alright, this is a good way to actually give you a visualization of how to do division. So over here we need this to be in 3 equal groups. So we'll start it out. So group of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So now this is where it's going to get kind of tricky, but what we need to understand is what we need to figure out is how much is in one group. In just one group, so what I'm going to do is just kind of push the 2 piles away to show that we just have one group left. Every group's the same, so the goal is to figure out how much is in each group. So if we have x equals, over here we just need one group as our example, so I'm going to move the other 2 away. Because when it comes to division, you're trying to figure out how much is in each group that you just divided by. So we divided by 3. So what we get is 3x divided by 3. When you divide by 3, you'll see many times teachers will cross out what they've done, or students will do that as well. So what we're left with is x. That means when you divide by 3, each group is just representing what is left. So one of these groups has a total of 1 in it. On the other side, you have 6 divided by 3. You know that you'll get an answer of 2. What that means is when we divided our total amount of 6, we had 6 total, we divided it into 3 equal groups. One of those groups had just a total of 2 pieces. So what we're saying is x equals 2. And if we remove this stack of mega blocks, we have x equals 2.